Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.stampinup.net. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I am showcasing you the gift of giving stamp set, and I have done this cup of cheer on a card for you. Love it. It features the Joy of Noel stamp set, which if you've been following my channel, you know I love. I have used it non-stop. And the Gift of Giving stamp set, which I got predominantly because of this mug. I mean, it's just beautiful. And I'm going to be using it on everything. I'm using the Joy of Noel DSP. So this is 12 by 12 DSP. You get 2 of each of these gorgeous designs, and they're double-sided. So there's 12 sheets in a pack. These are the pictures on the back. They are all beautiful, all usable, I feel. That red berry one in the background, that's my favorite. But for this one, I'm going to be using these, which is this green sort of check, and on the other side is this wood effect. So that's one sheet of, it's 2 sheets of DSP, but that's what you're going to have on either side. And we're going to get started. So moving everything off and pulling everything onto my desk. I'm interested to know, by the way, of the seasonal catalogue, which is your favourite set? So Joy of Noel has featured very heavily on everything I've done. What have you been using? What one has really called out to you? Let me know. So mount up your cup. And you're going to be wanting to use your Memento ink pad for this because it's going to be blended. You know me, I can't do a project nowadays without using the blends. I do try, but I love them too much, so I'm using them. Funny story, I've just moved house and my blends are now sitting the other side of the kitchen. So when I'm doing these videos, I am running backwards and forwards to get the next colour I want to use. I know, right? So I've used pecan pie and I've used shaded spruce here. And on the pecan pie one, I used a little bit of crumb cake and a little bit of the colour lifter as well. Then here we've got sweet sorbet, light and dark, and soft seafoam, light and dark. And I've just sort of mixed those around on my cup. You can use whichever colours you want. Now shaded spruce, sorry, this one is petal pink. Shaded spruce is in the DSP I'm using, so that's why I've used shaded spruce. But other than that, you could have used any colour you like. Fussy cut it out. You know me, blends in a good fussy cut session. That's my cheeky evenings in front of a TV, blending a load of images, fussy cutting them all, and making all my cards. I know, little things make me happy, right? For fussy cutting, try and use down the bottom edge of your scissors. The more to the middle you are, the smoother the cut you're going to get. So there's my cup. And I'm now putting it against the 2 DSPs to see how I want to layer and work those. So I've got a piece of basic white, and I'm now going to do the floral detail that's on the Joy of Noel stamp set. This has got to be my most inked up piece out. I mean, I don't know how many times I've stamped this season, and also coloured it in and then cut it out. I've done it an awful lot. So I'm using the same sort of colour schemes: shaded spruce, light and dark, sweet sorbet, light and dark, soft seafoam, light and dark. Okay, and then I'm using, this is the pecan pie that I was using earlier, and I'm just going over the branches with that, and then around the edges with the petal pink. So I've kept in with the colour scheme that I used on the cup. And the reason why I have gone round with the petal pink is, so when I fussy cut, there's an actual colour in the background. I'm not perfect enough to fussy cut along every single one of the lines and do it cleanly. But when you're working against a coloured background, like I was going to be working against the DSP, the whisper white or basic white stands out a mile. So by just colouring around it with the petal pink, it will just take that real harshness away from it. So now this is quite painful for me. I'm going to be cutting my DSP. I am one of these people who struggles to cut DSP. I really do. I just struggle with it. I like it 12 by 12. I think it looks pretty 12 by 12. And then when I cut it, I feel sad. but I've cut this to 10 centimeters by 14.3. The card base, as you can see, is 10.5 centimeters by 14.8. So it just sits with a little bit of a gap around the edges, which I think looks quite nice. And it's going to have some shaded spruce on it to match that background. So I'm going to pop a strip along there. That's 2 centimeters that I've cut out. And this DSP I'm cutting down at 8 centimeters, and I've done it by 13 centimeters. So it's just, it's 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters. I knew what I'd done there. 8 centimeters by 10. So it just fills that bottom half of the card. So start sticking it all down and put it all together. The shaded spruce strip is not really essential if you don't have it. I just wanted to put something on there just to create some extra texture. I'm all about layering this year. I quite like it. And I think this just builds up the background quite nicely. And then I'm going to pop this ribbon on it. So I love this. This is the sheer ribbon. And it's just got a little hint of a twinkle. So as you're putting it on, wrap it around the card and stick it down. But it doesn't detract from the gorgeous shaded spruce that's underneath it. It's kind of opaque, it sits on top of it, but it just gives a gorgeous twinkle, which is lovely. And then the wood effect to go on top of there with the mug and with my bow. So I'm going to be sticking that down, but before I do, I'm just going to chop this down a little further. So it's 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters to make a square, and it will sit a little bit nicer within that section. Now to stick these down, you can either use your liquid glue or you can use a seal. Our Stampin' seal is pretty good as an adhesive. I wouldn't use the Seal Plus. So the Seal Plus is for cardstock basically. And if you use it on this thin DSP, it will rip it. Trust me, I've learned. So just come in with some seal and stick that down. Now you want to make sure you also stuck it on the bits that's not the ribbon, because it won't stick as good to the ribbon as it has to the paper. So that's why I added some extra adhesive. And then I'm using my elegant trim. This is in the silver. So this is a double pack. You get gold and silver in this, but I'm just using the silver. And I've created myself a bow and stuck then these pieces on. So I'm going to stick these up with dimensionals. But what I've just done is worked out that I don't need all of that to show, and I'm going to interfere with my bow if I stick it all down. So I stuck it with adhesive at the top, but I cut a little bit off so you just get the main bit poking out the back of the mug, and then stick the mug on. And there we go. Finally, you want to add a sentiment onto this. So pop it onto your card base. This is a normal A5 card base, so it's a piece of A4 basic white, cut in half, then scored in half, and the front piece is then going on, and that will keep the ribbon in place, because as I was going along, that kept popping back off, which was annoying me. So now for the actual sentiment. I would recommend doing the sentiment first, okay? So I hadn't worked out when I was making this that I wanted to put a sentiment on yet. So I'd used metallic enamel effects, which are great, and I've done them in the silver. They come in a whole host of colours, and I've just put them at dots at the bottom. The only thing with that is you need to let them dry. I'd recommend 20 minutes because they go tacky, they fall around. They're just a bit of a mess if you don't let them dry properly. So let them dry. I would finish all of your card and then put them on. But as I said, I hadn't really worked out I was going to put a sentiment on at that point. So I put those on and then did the sentiment afterwards. Backwards, I know. So for this, I stamped the Joyous from the stamp set. And I've gone over the top of it with Petal Pink for the reasons I said earlier. And then I fussy cut this out. Now you can't fussy cut this on the line because otherwise it's all going to fall apart. So I've got in as close as possible and into all the little nooks and crannies. The only bit I didn't get was in the middle of the J on Joyous. I didn't really want to get in the middle of the J there. It was just far too fragile for me. So I just went around the edge of the rest of the writing to cut it out. Once I did that, I've got some shaded spruce, which I'm just going to stick it onto. Now this is the fun, is trying to get the glue on it. So you can use a fine tip glue pen. I've used multi-purpose liquid glue, and then I've just come in with a little pokey tool and spread that around. The reason being, the fine tip multi-purpose glue was over the other edge of the kitchen again, and by this point I was fed up running backwards and forwards. We are going to have to get something done. I've recently just relocated up to Manchester. Well, I say recently, it's probably been about a month and a half now, but my craft stuff's all hidden away in the side of the kitchen, and I'm over the other side of the kitchen with my work desk and everything else, so I'm just backwards and forwards to things, and I think we're just going to have to work a little bit better and get someone to come and put some storage on the walls for me, hopefully. And then I can get back to doing a bit more crafting with you all. So I've stuck this onto my shaded spruce. I've made that into a tag, and then I've stuck it onto the rest of the wood DSP, just so that it sticks out at a slight angle and you just get that sort of shading. And then I'm going to add it to the front of the card delicately so it doesn't affect the silver dots I've already put on. You can see why I'm walking a bit dubious here. And then that's the finished card. So what do you think? Do you like it? Let me know below. If you have enjoyed this project, do go back and check my other ones out. Like and subscribe for more details, and everything I've used is available on my store, slimandstylish.stampingup.net. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.